I will lay this out in the most basic way I can. My wife and I work from home. She wanted a dog. I said we didn't have enough time to take care of one. She pestered me until I agreed. We took our time and found a rescue that had several pups that met our criteria: small, adult, and requiring just a couple of short walks a day. They did home visits and stuff. It was taking a while. My wife found a farm where blue heeler cross border collie pups worked during that time. She got me one for my birthday. I had one just like her when I lived at home with my parents. She's a beautiful puppy, but not in any way that we agreed on. We live in an apartment with no yard. My parents have an acreage. I'm very busy. I don't have time for all the training and exercise she needs. I thanked my wife, but no thanks. She refused to listen to me. So I just refused to bond with the pup. I didn't even name her. I told my wife I would ensure the pup was fed and got 2 half-hour walks daily since we agreed on that. Everything else was on her. It took 2 weeks of barking, chewing and pooping until she rehomed the pup. Now she's mad that I manipulated her into doing what I said we should do to begin with. She said she thought I would love a puppy like my old one. If we had the space and time for her, I would have. I'm angry that I had to even do it. I feel bad for the dog. I'm thinking of not even doing the rescue now that I know more about how my wife thinks. Am I the idiot for refusing to take any responsibility for my dog until my wife was forced to rehome him? Edit, the pup is at home with my parents. They're training her, and since my dad is retired, he likes having a buddy around. She's happy out there. My wife is just angry that she paid for my parents to get a dog. So she's angry about the money. She doesn't deserve dogs. I'm happy your dad has his little buddy. You are not the idiot. You manipulated her? Pets are 2 yes, 1 no. She badgered you into giving a yes and then broke your agreement because real life moved slower than her whims. Then she got upset you stuck to what you were willing to agree to instead of yielding to her attempt at emotional manipulation. How old are you and your wife? Because she sounds immature. Please don't get any dog until she's proven she can and will respect your boundaries and your agreed upon terms. Consider marriage counselling. Marriage counselling? Cheaper than divorce, better than doghouse. All I had to read was blue heeler cross border collie and apartment with no backyard to know you are 100% not the idiot. I live and work on a farm. Town people who get working type breeds when they don't have the commitment to put in the massive amount of exercise and stimulation these dogs require are absolute muppets. I'm trying to be nice, OP, as she is your wife and I know you love her, but she acted like she was 5 years old and not an adult. Anyone with an ounce of common sense would see that this would be a train wreck, except for your wife. Yes, it's sad for the dog, but you're still married to a partner who thinks like this, or rather a partner who does not think. And to top it off, she was and is mad at you about this when it was entirely her doing. There was no reasoning with your wife. She proactively and unilaterally decided to do a dumb, crappy thing to that puppy and deserves 100% of the blame here. I, 24 female, didn't grow up with my step-siblings Kyle and Camilla, 24 male and female, so I barely knew them. I lived in another country with my mother and moved to my dad's country a year ago for a marriage that never happened. Basically, my dad introduced me to a man, Neil, 32, 2 years ago, and we had a year-long long-distance relationship. We decided to get married and I moved over. Then he slept with my stepsister Camilla and got her pregnant. It was just a messed up situation. I didn't make a fuss. My dad barely stood up for me, and the only apologetic person was my stepmother. That was because she didn't want me to make her kids look bad to the rest of the family. She's also the reason my parents' marriage broke up. I stayed in my dad's country and I'm dating someone new, so it's all good. I bake as a hobby and occasionally sell some of the things I make. I usually just bake for my boyfriend Will, 27, or his mother because she's a sweetheart, but last week my dad called me up and asked if I would bake for my half-sister's teen birthday in a few weeks. I agreed and started buying materials and looking for inspiration. I was asked explicitly not to put any numbers on the cake because they said they'd gotten some special candles for the cake to signify the birthday age. I believe this was because my sister is autistic and likes things in a particular way. I'm going on holiday very soon, so I won't be able to attend the birthday party. I was with my grandmother yesterday and she remarked on how kind I was by baking for Camilla and Neil's daughter's birthday. I asked her what she was talking about, and it turned out my dad had lied to me, and in reality the cake I was baking would be for that child's birthday instead. I know nothing about this baby because she's not even related to me. I didn't even know her birthday, so I didn't suspect anything. Turns out her birthday is a few days before my sister's. My grandmother showed me the text. She thought it was wrong of my dad to ask me to bake for the party, confirming what my dad had done. I called him to let him know I would not be baking for the party, and I was horrified at his attempt to con me out of time and money for a baby I don't even know with parents I don't particularly like. He begged me to reconsider because it was too late to ask for any other baker, but I hung up. Now I'm being bombarded with texts accusing me of punishing a baby for her parents' actions and for leaving them with no alternative besides store-bought cakes. I'm starting to feel bad. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad put himself in this situation by trying to con you into baking for the baby. If he'd been honest, there would have been plenty of time to find someone else when you declined. That's some really crappy behaviour from your dad, trying to trick his own daughter and then blaming her when she finds out, and his actions have consequences. To be honest, I would turn down any future baking requests from that part of your family, since they clearly have no respect for you. You're not punishing a baby. The baby doesn't know what day it is. Your dad tried to con you, but you found out and you actually had a spine and told him no. I find it hard to believe you're the only one that can bake a cake. There are also these places that can bake cakes called bakeries, but you have to pay for them. Your dad is a grade A snake and a jerk. Sorry that you're related to him and your equally crappy stepsister. Right? Let's be honest. Toddler birthday parties are for the parents, not the baby who won't remember it. Honey, the baby would not be eating the cake anyway, so you're not denying the baby anything. The adults are the ones who'll be eating the cake. As punishment, I suggest you make this public. If they're going to keep being malicious and harassing, it is time to fight fire with fire, and you have got an inferno that can be unleashed. I, male 33, have been with my wife, 29, for almost 6 years. I have a good job, don't drink or party, am home every single night after work and don't go out on weekends. I cook dinners, help with the kids, and do absolutely anything I can to make her life easier and happier. Also, I absolutely hate arguing and am extremely passive. She was married once before and has younger children from her previous marriage. When we first met, she would constantly talk about how mean and terrible her ex was in every way, and how she was so incredibly happy to have met someone like me. While she has a lot of insecurities from past trauma, I've made an effort to spend our entire relationship building up her confidence and self-esteem. I constantly tell her how beautiful and great she is, even if she treats me poorly at the moment. Fast forward about 2 years into our relationship, and now she feels much more confident and incredibly beautiful. With that, she's spent the last 3 years on ups and downs of being extremely nice to me, then treating me poorly and telling me that I need to change X, Y, and Z to meet her needs. She asked me to go to therapy, which I'm entirely on board with and support. I went to therapy for a bit, but couldn't afford to keep going due to costs. I make a solid effort to learn how to talk and handle situations. Still, it's never good enough for her, and she constantly says I will never meet her needs as a partner. I'm incredibly confused by this because, in the beginning, she was pushing for me to marry her, against my previous thoughts on marriage. Her love feels conditional, and I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells, trying to make her happy even though I don't feel she ever will be. Then, a few weeks ago, we got into a pretty heated argument and she discussed wanting to open our marriage so her needs could be met since I couldn't do that for her. I explained that I wasn't into this or continuing our relationship and she would have to explore on her own. She responded by telling me that I was being controlling, something I am completely against and have never done in any aspect, for not giving her the option to do this within our marriage since she doesn't know what she wants. That said, I felt I was being supportive in doing what I could to help her be happy in life, with or without me. I don't know how normal it is for a partner to start daily arguments or be unhappy with their partner in the way she feels about me. Am I the odd one out? And am I the idiot for not wanting to be a part of this, especially after all the hurtful things she's said over the years? Dude, it isn't being controlling to say no adultery within marriage. When she pushed you to marry her, she pushed for a relationship that the state and society define as strictly monogamous. She wants out. Permit her the exit she needs. There's no need to discuss it with her. Yeah, she's just trying to manipulate you to appease her conscience. I'm sorry, but your marriage is over. She just wants her ATM machine at home minding his own business. At the same time, she gets a train run until she stumbles upon a guy who makes more money and is stupid enough to commit to her. Drop this woman. She sees you as a doormat because of your kindness. I wouldn't be surprised if she isn't already cheating. I would take what she said about her ex with a grain of salt. Based on her behaviour, I bet she pulled this same crap with him and he didn't take it. She then labelled him as abusive. She is 29 with 2 small kids and is in her 2nd marriage. I would let her go so she can find another sucker for her 3rd and probably not her last marriage. She wants her cake and eat it too. Let her go and make sure you get your ducks in order and visit a divorce lawyer before you tell her so she can't pull a fast one on you. So my fiancé and I thought it would be sweet if we both walked down the aisle by our parents at our wedding. For her, that's both her mom's, and for me, that's my mom. I lost my dad 11 years ago when I was 14. My mom was thrilled when I asked her and told me she was excited to walk her baby boy down the aisle. The problem occurred when she told her husband I wanted them to walk me down the aisle. Not just her, as I explicitly stated, but she and her husband, who has never been my parental figure and only came into my life as an adult. He was excited about the prospect as well, and he called me up and told me he was glad I was finally letting him step into the role of father figure because he always wanted kids and he was proud to have a son. I had no idea where this came from, so I asked what he meant, and he said the fact I wanted my mom and him to walk me down the aisle meant I was embracing him as a parent too. I told him I hadn't asked for both of them. I asked just my mom. He acted like I never spoke. So I called my mom and asked where he got the idea I'd asked him, and she told me she hadn't seen it as a big deal because they're married and he's a good man and surely I'll want him to be a grandpa to my future kids, so including him in this shouldn't be such a big deal. I told her it was a big deal because he wasn't my parent. If anyone was going to be walking with us, it would be Dad, but he's not here, and because he's not here, I don't want anyone else. I told her she needed to clear things up with her husband, and she said no. She said she wouldn't crush him and I could man up and allow him the joy of experiencing this with us. I told her I would not walk with the 2 of them. She told me it was too late to back out now and what harm would it do. She told me it would crush him to have it taken back. I told her he blatantly ignored me when I'd already told him, and she defended it, saying he was excited and wanted to be included. I told her I wouldn't walk with her if she didn't fix this, and she told me I had to walk with her. I already asked and she already accepted. This is when I told her that if that was her stance, I was taking back the offer for her so she could figure out what to tell the man she married. All heck broke loose when I told my mom this, and she told me I was behaving like a child and excluding a good man for no reason, as well as punishing her for trying to be a good wife. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You offered a sweet gesture and she completely messed it up. Does she try to override your wishes on many things, or just regarding her husband? Is she going to create a bunch of drama at the wedding now? She wants some guy you've never even lived with, isn't even remotely your parent, to walk you down the aisle at your wedding? That's like just picking some random and saying, here, have a great honour. That's insane. Yeah, walk by yourself. OP, I think it's more serious than just walking you down the aisle. She's already got him being a granddad to your future kids. Does this also mean she wants him listed as the father of the groom in the programs? What other thing will he expect now? Especially since your mum seems willing to let him do what he wants. I'm afraid this has opened a door that is going to be tough to close. Your mom is manipulative, way out of line and disrespectful. Your wedding day is not the time to play happy replacement families. There are lots of good men around, some of whom will probably be guests at your wedding, none of whom will be walking you down the aisle because they are not your parents. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials. My friends and I, 24 female, were out recently to celebrate my friend Sarah's 26 female birthday. For some context, I'm morbidly obese and can't fit in booths at all. I find it hard sitting down when the tables don't move, and it's also just painful and uncomfortable anyway. My friends know this, and generally when we eat out we get a table. However, because this was my friend's birthday, we went to her favourite restaurant, which mainly had booths. We tried to get a table, but none were available, so we sat at a booth. I found it hard to get into and it was really pressing against my stomach, but I managed for a while. I told one of my friends that it would be nicer if they had better seating here, and she agreed. I mentioned this several times throughout the night because it was hurting, and everyone agreed. I wasn't complaining much, I was just venting a bit. However, Sarah talked to me privately before we were about to go home. She told me I was taking attention away from her and her birthday by mentioning it a lot and making a big deal. She said she tried to accommodate me a lot, but it can't always happen and I need to take responsibility for my weight and manage it. I apologised and said okay, but she just left. But now I'm really starting to wonder if I'm the idiot for complaining. I asked my roommate about this yesterday and she agreed and said that I was being selfish. I really wasn't trying to be ungrateful for celebrating her birthday here. I was just venting my frustrations, and I'm obviously thankful that she accommodated me. But am I the idiot? And should I have just dealt with it silently? You are the idiot for bringing it up repeatedly. I sincerely hope you can find help managing your weight. At 24, you can still turn things around and reach a healthier state. You deserve to enjoy things like sitting in a booth, fitting in a movie theatre seat, buying clothes off the rack, etc., etc. You made the birthday about you and your discomfort, and venting is complaining. Venting or complaining at a birthday party is inappropriate either way. Take this as a wake-up call. You can't even enjoy a meal because of your weight. Agreed, your choices were to leave, find other seating, or decide to stay and try to enjoy the night. If it was as uncomfortable as it sounds, I hope no one would have begrudged you for leaving early or asking for a chair. Your choice to stay but to keep the focus on how uncomfortable you were didn't actually make the situation better for yourself. Unpopular opinion, not the idiot. It seems to me that this was really bothering you and your friends weren't exactly taking you into consideration, regardless of it being someone's birthday. Celebrating a birthday does not dismiss the fact that you are physically uncomfortable in the booth and it's negatively impacting you. Friends don't put other friends through that stress.